So I think that we're going to probably go ahead and get started. It's right after 2 o'clock, so that we can move through our presentation. We have, I did want to say hi to Robin. Robin Lindebeck is in Florida as well. She is on the west coast of Florida over in the Tampa market. So thank you so much for joining us, Robin. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Darlene. I am the National Digital Sales Director with SeniorLivingGuide.com, and we are a national website providing our website users the ability to find anything associated with assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, active, independent, anything like that. So that's really what we do, and we connect those end users or our website visitors directly with those communities. So that's really kind of what we do. But today we've invited Tracy Millage from ABI American Business Interiors to join us and chat a little bit about learning to adapt to COVID with a safer approach and creating healthy solutions. Sorry, I just scooted that down and I couldn't remember the last word. And really, we really appreciate her joining us. She's going to share a little bit about her background and a little bit about what the webinar is going to be about, because there's multiple layers to what some of these solutions are. So Tracy, thank you so much for joining.
Well, Darlene, thank you very much for hosting, and also thank you to Senior Living Guide for allowing me this opportunity. Again, my name is Tracy Millage. I live in Melbourne, Florida, and I work for American Business Interiors. I've been in the contract furniture business for 20 years, and I specialize in healthcare and in assisted living. We find in this trying times with the COVID that we're going through, of looking at the here and now and then what we can do in the future. A lot of our clients are asking us, how can we help them to improve for healthier communities? This can be a lot of different layers. It could be something as general as going in and helping them space plan differently with their existing furniture. It could be, you know, adding things. It could be the ancillary items that we need for protection, so that our staff feels safe, the residents feel safe. There's, again, many facets of layers to this ongoing situation that we're in. But first, we just want to take a few minutes and just touch lightly on textiles. It's kind of where we kind of seem to begin with people. We talk about knowing your textiles. There's a lot of different textiles out there, and they're throughout our facility, you know, anywhere from our dining areas to our lounge areas. But a lot of people are asking, how do I clean them? How do I know if I'm cleaning them with the right product? And a lot of that goes back to, first we have to know what our textiles are. I'm not going to go through and touch on every single one of these, the difference between vinyls and high performance. You know, you can read that, and a lot of us already know this information. But when we have product, if we don't know what our fabrics are, and we need to try and find out what they are, so that we know that we're using the right. I mean, no one wants to go in and say, we clean with bleach and apply some our bleach cleaner for a disinfectant to something that's not bleach cleanable. And we know what kind of disaster that turns into. So we can backtrack if we don't know what our fabrics are. We can go through where we purchased them. If you don't have that information, we can sometimes, it's as simple as flipping fabrics and looking for the information underneath of them or inside of a cushion. It will tell you who manufactured them. It will, a lot of time will give you an order number. So you can track your items backwards so that you can find out what the fabric is, what the cleaning codes are, and so forth like that. And we've been helping a lot of our customers do that. So, you know, if people don't know where the furniture came from, but they can get us some product information, you know, I'd be happy and try and help people track some things backwards as well. But one thing I wanted to talk about with fabrics is a misnomer that we've been hearing an awful lot in the industry. It's about antimicrobial fabrics. So antimicrobial fabrics, it's an agent, it is toxic to or inhibits the growth of microorganisms such as bacterial and fungus. There's places that we use this, there's places that it's good, there's places where there's a lot of dampness, a lot of moisture, and it is a good product for killing bacteria. But what we're dealing with COVID is not a bacteria, it is a virus. And we've had clients, say, oh, we're good. We know last year we just updated our seeding and we put in this antimicrobial fabric, so we're good. That's not necessarily the case. So we want people to be mindful of what their products are and knowing that they are cleaning them properly. And there are stages which are very specific for proper cleaning. Is we have to start out with a cleaning, then disinfecting, and then we have to go through our rinse.
So when it says antimicrobial,
yes,
it's very misleading because it makes it sound like it's antibacterial, but that's not actually the case. Is that what you're saying?
Antibacterial additives, they're used to treat microbes and bacteria, but that's not intended to decrease infection among humans, and it does not work against viruses.
Okay, so it's the viruses.
Are very different from bacteria.
Exactly. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Because it does, when you think about antimicrobial, you're thinking bacteria, you're thinking viruses. That's kind of where your mind goes, not to like molds and things like that. At least mine does. So that's interesting.
Yes, so that's where we say it's important to know what your fabric type is, knowing that you're using them in the right applications. And this is where your designers or your furniture firms, even your manufacturers, if you buy direct, you can reach out to them and tell them specifically, this is an area that we're working in. This is the kind of use, we need moisture barriers or we don't. These are our cleaning products that we use. What can you provide to us that is a good solution for the process that we want to use this? So there's a lot of people out there that can aid in helping you find those things. Okay, what's the difference between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing? Sorry. Cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing are not the same. Products that are used for soil and stain removal may not be effective disinfectants. A lot of times, and I don't want to get into a lot of redoing everyone's cleaning process, but a lot of times I hear of people when we ask them, how are your people cleaning your product? They'll come to us and they'll say, well, we have this final product, but yet we were told that, we would have at least 5 years of life or 10 years of life, in this, but it seems to be breaking down. Why is it not holding up? And it's like, well, what is your cleaning process? And when we start hearing what some of the cleaning processes are, we find that they're not doing the rinse at the end, that they're leaving the disinfectant sitting, by using the wipes and so forth, and not doing the rinse afterwards. That will break down the material. So just a quick review here. Cleaning, step one of our process, removes germs and dirts and impurities from surfaces and objects. Cleaning works by using soap and detergent. Physically removes the dirt from the surfaces. It lowers the risk of spreading infections. So when we do our clean process, we do our cleaning, we do our wipe off with our clean water, and we allow for a dry time. The dry time is really important, and a lot of people don't talk about the dry time in between. Because if you have a fabric that's saturated or it's over wet, one, it's bad for the foam because it breaks down the foam over time. And when you're applying your disinfectant isn't working because you've already got your dissolution already in the foam, and it's holding the water, and it's not allowing the disinfectant to work as it should. So we do our cleaning first, we do our clear water wipe down, then we give it ample time to dry in between, and then we can go into our disinfecting stage. So the disinfecting refers to a chemical, usually hopefully EPA registered disinfectants to kill germs on the surfaces. This process does not necessarily clean the dirt away and removes from the surfaces or removes the germs, but by killing germs on the surface after cleaning. It can further lower the risk of spreading infection, which is what we're all trying to accomplish. And sanitizing, yes, with the sanitizing, it lowers the numbers of the germs on the surface and objects to a safe level, as judged by the EPA. There is a lot of information out there, through the CDC, through the EPA, that talk about your chemicals that are used, that are recommended, the proper dissolution of these items. The one thing that we don't hear a lot of people talk about is contact time. Some people call it dwell time, kill time. It's the amount of time it's recommended by the manufacturer that the disinfectant is required to be on the surface to be effective. Contact time can be anywhere from 15 seconds to 15 minutes. That's why we say it's really important to follow the instructions on the label. Not all disinfectants are the same. So just briefly, this is a guideline that a lot of, you'll see if you go to a lot of the textile websites, they put out information as to their cleaning protocols that they recommend for their fabrics and their textiles. With cleaning, always pre-test a small area, inconspicuous. That's, you know, given, we've heard that for years. Also know by the fabric what cleaning solvents you can use. Is it a water base? Is it a solvent base? Is it water and solvent based? So again, that's where your designers and your furniture manufacturers can help you decide for your textiles as to what they are made out of and what they need to be treated with. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for cleaning. Same thing with diluting, and follow the PPE, which is, you know, proper care with your eye protection, your hand protection, because these chemicals, you know, they are strong, and we want to protect your employees.
And you mentioned you can use bleach on some of these fabrics, and I'm sure, you know, you always want to hit a small section to
Absolutely.
No matter what you're doing, but especially if you're using bleach, right?
Absolutely. Bleach I'll talk about in the next slide.
Okay.
With this, we discussed oversaturation a little bit. Liquids should never be pressed through the fabric. Again, with the pooling and the seams. All surfaces must be rinsed and wiped dry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so disinfectants. Disinfectants, yes. The most common disinfectant is bleach. It's a powerful and effective disinfectant. For most fabric, dilution is noted 10 to 1, and some are even 4 to 1 ratio. Again, by knowing what your textile is, you'll have that information. The CDC guidelines are recommending a 10 to 1 for bleach cleanable ratio for properly disinfecting surfaces. And that's just not textiles. I think that's, you know, for your laminate surfaces, your metal surfaces that you're wiping down. So a 10 to 1 bleach ratio is what the CDC calls for. So again, pre-test your small areas, follow the guidelines as to what your cleaning product says to be diluted, don't oversaturate, and definitely rinse afterwards. What we're hearing is that they are recommending setting forth a good protocol for cleaning. And I never thought about it before, but when you think about it, a lot of times, like how many times have you washed your windows at your house and you spray it down and you start doing your circular motion? And when you get done, you go back and look and you say, oh, at the top, I've got a smear area. They're recommending setting up a good protocol with your cleaning and also with adding your disinfectants is starting from the top and working down in a motion, and then coming back through and going from your left to the right, and not working in a circular, because they're saying that circular, they have found that it can cause cross-contamination.
That makes sense.
You know, and I hadn't thought about it, but like I said, when you add it to the analogy of looking at your, you know, doing your windows or dusting and just pushing things around, you're not really getting the area clean. Yeah.
So you just want to do this.
Top to bottom, and then they're saying left to right is a recommendation for applying your disinfectant. And then
that definitely makes sense.
For the third phase of everything, they're saying rinse, rinse, rinse. We can't emphasize enough how important it is to remove the disinfectant residue. This step is often overlooked. And a lot of times people get busy. I mean, it's a process, because you've got your cleaning, you have to do your wait time. Then you come back and you do your disinfecting, and then you have your wait time before you can come in and do your rinse off. Because, you know, maybe it's 15 seconds that you're supposed to leave your disinfectant on. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's 15 minutes. So, you know, sometimes people get busy and they don't come back, but it's still important to come back and do that rinse.
Probably, especially if you're using bleach.
Bleach or anything. A lot of people, you know, they'll do the Virax wipes. Some people clean with hydroperoxide. I mean, there's a lot of different products out there, and we're not telling anyone by any means what to use. But again, if you're just leaving the disinfectant on there and thinking, hey, I'm good, you're building up a residue. And when you build up a residue, then when you go in to do your cleaning, it's harder to get to do the cleaning part before you can re-disinfect. And the other thing is, if you're not rinsing properly, you could be degrading the integrity and the lifespan of your fabrics. And you know, that's water and disinfectant pooling in the edges, just not being cleaned off. Disinfectant and chemicals can weaken the threads, it degrades the foam, it can cause breakdown in the material. And furniture is a costly investment, and you want to maximize your investment. So that's it for fabrics. This is just a quick throw-in slide just to say there's a ton of information out there. Again, with the EPA website, if you go to the CDC, we're all sharing information among ourselves. And that's kind of how we're all getting through this. We're just kind of pulling resources together. Now to the fun stuff.
These are some of my favorite parts right here, because you can just get really creative and do some great things in your communities with some of these different options.
And I have to say, this is probably our #1 request. And I mean, you see this every place you go. You go to the grocery store, you go to the hardware store, no matter where you're going, you're seeing plexiglass. Most places I'm not seeing glass, but we do glass. Actually, we do that more in office environments, a little more upscale, durable. But the plexiglass and glass separation screens aid in infection control efforts and offer protective barriers. There are so many options out there, from glass that can stack on top of cubicles to increase workspace privacy. We can set them on top of work surfaces. We can clamp them to the edge of work surfaces, to tables. As you see, we have a 4-plex. You know, we've been doing this in school applications, also in just dining areas, you know, where people are still communing, but they still want to have some barriers between them.
Now this one, the 4-plex that you talked about for like the dining, is that lightweight where you can pick it up and you can use it in a dining situation, then take it to a conference room?
Yeah, and a lot of it depends on the material. Of course, you know, glass is going to be heavier. More weight to it. The plexiglass, a lot more lightweight, and they fold up.
They fold up. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, you can fold them up, kind of tuck them away when they're not in use. And I mean, it only folds flat, so it's, you know, 2 sides to 2 sides, and then they open up.
Right.
But yes, everything is pretty modular. We can do pass-through windows. There's companies out there that provide, as you see in the left photo, you can do frosted acrylic, you can do clear glass. A lot of products out there, 3M products and some of the other architectural companies have some really pretty screens that you can use, you know, like if we're trying to divide your lounge areas or even dining, where it's more eye-pleasing, it's more architectural looking, but you can really class it up and make it look really nice.
Now, oh, I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you. I didn't mean to. So some of these screens that are on this picture that, you know, facing me, they're on the left, with the like little separate little cubicles. Those you can easily move as well, and you can get them frosted or clear glass.
Yeah, I mean, right now the ones that you're seeing have feet, and they just have leveling glides, so they'll move easily across carpet or tile or anything like that. You can also get them with casters, and the casters are locking casters. So it makes them easy to wheel around. If you're using them in one place in the morning, you can move them to another place and use them in the afternoon or evening hours. So
you can even line these up, I see, and line them up to make a wall.
Absolutely. You can create different shapes. You can box things in. You can customize them. You can do them whatever heights you want, whatever width, within reason. Usually 6 feet is about the max before you're having to do attachments to each other. So there's a lot of variations with using products like this. And
yeah, again, I really like that.
Again, it's very, very popular now. You're seeing it every place. A lot of the stuff, you know, we can get very quickly. It can ship in. You got your facilities people can install this and put it in place. But
yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of options. And
Yeah.
I mean, just for an example, my father is in memory care. He had surgery a couple months ago, and I was able to go visit him in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was in a rehab facility, my first time I got to meet with him, which, you know, was great that I got to be in the same room with him, but they had us sitting at like a 12-foot table. My father at one end, myself at the other. We both had our mask on, and we were trying to converse. And with him just having surgery, he was weak. It wasn't a very good visit because we just really couldn't communicate very well.
You probably couldn't really hear that far away with masks on, can you?
No, and he didn't have the strength.
Yeah.
And then when he went into the memory care facility where he is now, fabulous facility, when I got to visit with him again, they had a screen like this. And it was in an area where we went in. It was a nice comfy chair for him. They had this nice glass screen between us. We both still had our mask on. He was in a comfy chair. I came in from a different direction, and I got to sit in a chair 3 feet back from the glass, and we could actually have a conversation.
Wow.
And, you know, it just was such a big difference from the first experience. So, you know, as we get through this process, like we said, and we share things and we find new solutions, you know, and better ways of interacting, and it makes it better for the residents, for the family members, just for peace of mind.
Yeah, no, I think this is great. I love the fact that they're mobile, they're movable. You can get them on casters that lock. You can get multiples and then make a wall. You can really create your own spaces with them.
Yes.
It's incredible. And then the spacing that you can have at a conference table, or you can store it flat and then pick it up and put it on a table for dining purposes, or when you have family members in that you need to talk with them, you know, you can just pull it out and make everyone feel really comfortable. That's an incredible solution to have. And it's literally stores flat. So it's not a permanent part of your, of any part of your building, if you don't want it to be. So that's, this is good stuff. Okay.
For our next one, this one is personal protective equipment. Most everyone has this through the facilities. I'm sure they do. Some of the options, you know, are wall mount. Some are freestanding. You know, a lot of people put in the hand sanitizers. They're putting the masks. They're putting gloves in them at the entryways, at restrooms, by the dining areas, just through our open space, lounge areas, communal spaces. I've seen some facilities who have actually went to the arm pools, which is kind of a nice thing. You don't think about, but you think about with everything we touch, sometimes we just, you know, our hands, what if they do touch with the germs and bacteria on them, but doing the arm pulls, the foot pulls. I've actually seen those even at Lowe's. Went in and went to leave the restroom, and when you have hand dryers, it's like, oh, what do I do? So the foot pulls is a nice option to be able to enter or exit you know, a location as well, and not be using our hands.
Well, and you know, people always think, or I've heard people say, well, we're just going to go to like automatic doors everywhere. Hey, that's really expensive. And you can't have automatic doors throughout your entire community or facility. You really are, these are just super easy turnkey solutions for, you know, multiple places inside your community. We're not talking about the front door where people are walking in, not necessarily. So, I mean, that really is just a great.
And this doesn't work for all applications, as you said, you know, it's, you know, it has to be, you know, the specific spot to use that, but it is an option. So,
yeah.
Okay, space planning while keeping social distancing in mind for common areas. This is probably the one that we're most faced with our clients are asking, wow, we've got all this furniture. They're telling us that we need to be spacing people apart. We don't need to be communing as much. You know, what can we do and how can we be creative in defining space? So with doing that, you know, there are the screens that we discussed, and there are different screens. Like if you see in the top left photos, these screens are more fabric based. Again, mobile to move. A lot of them actually work as noise abatement. If you look in the two bottom photos, you can see the gray screen and you can see the white screen behind the lounge chairs. Those are actually, they're noise abatement tiles. You can do solids. You can have designs on them as solids. You can have the cutouts in them. So it's an architectural element that we use for creating design, but it also helps with keeping noise level down, and we can space plan and create smaller environments by using things like this.
Can you also put the glass in there?
You know, we can, and we have done that. Actually, we did a conference room where they just liked the look of this a lot, but you know, they wanted the glass walls, and we actually have it sandwiched in between the glass walls. So there are elements that we can do that with as well.
So that would probably be more of a permanent solution.
It is, and
social distancing.
The noise abatement. You lose the noise abatement ability doing that, of course, but it is a very nice aesthetic look.
Yeah.
Planters have been huge in space planning. You know, where you can take two areas, and by putting some planters in, it keeps it, you know, more residential. There's different shapes of planters, you know, with colors, sizes, but you can create barriers by doing that.
Yeah, I really like the planter idea. That's really great.
Yeah, we do that a lot. And most people, a lot of times people put those in anyway, because they just soften things. It makes environments feel more homey. People love plants. You know, they're good. You know, they recreate, you know, oxygen. So there's a lot of beneficial in doing and bringing the outside in.
Exactly.
So we do that an awful lot.
Exactly.
This is just another example. You know, we all know about the, you know, the 6 feet apart with the spacing of, you know, dining tables. Dining's been a little bit of a challenge, you know, for people. We see them going to more shifts for dining, not all dining at one time. Some residents are dining, you know, in their rooms. But again, with space planning of, you know, spreading things out and creating barriers. We actually, you know, have the capacity, and we've had people start adding glass walls, you know, creating environments that are more of a private, or what they call like a safe area for people to come visit. And we can put lounge furniture in it, you can put curtains in them, you can dress them up and make them look like actual rooms, but this is a designated area, and it gets treated and cleaned differently for areas where people can go and meet with their loved ones.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options out there. I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to products and designs and things like this.
And creating smaller spaces and social distancing naturally within your community. So if we have COVID again, and even during flu season, you can still have smaller spaces throughout your community. You can do them aesthetically, or you could do them where they're, you know, more, you can put them on wheels and make them just however you want to do it, really.
It really has changed our focus thinking forward. I mean, you know, we've never experienced anything like this, and it has been a huge challenge in the industry. So it's just really rethinking. I mean, just thinking like with cubicles, you know, everyone, for a long time, everyone wanted their own private office, and cubicles were tall. And now, over the last, you know, 7 years, everything has dropped down. Everyone went to benching, which is open, you know, no walls between everyone, everyone's communing, and now all of a sudden everyone's going back up again.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's kind of a whirlwind in our industry right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All interesting things, and a lot of food for thought to think about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this is just some of the companies that we deal with for healthcare, for, you know, offices in general. You know, a lot of these names will be recognizable to people. Again, there's just so many solutions out there. It's just sitting down with someone, having that conversation, opening up the dialogue, and saying, hey, I need some help. You know, whether it's find out what your fabric is, finding out what the cleanability of the fabric is. Are you using the right fabric in the right locations? You know, can we do better? Same thing with laying our spaces out. You know, can we do better? Is there ancillary items? You know, if you ask the question, we can find an answer.
Yeah, so you're able to help anyone that wants to reach out to you from this webinar to get some advice on placement, or talk to you about some of the products or anything like that. You're more than willing to talk with them, or even if they have current products that they don't maybe know how they should be cleaned because they don't know who the manufacturer is, you're happy to chat with them about that?
I can. It's easier if we know who a manufacturer is to be able to track a fabric back. Sometimes, you know, doing this 20 years, I can look at a fabric and I can tell you right off the bat it's a design, it's an Artcom fabric, just because I've used them and I've been around them so much. And then I can track it back and I can get a code for you. I can tell you what's good cleaners to use. I can just supply you the information that you need.
Well, that's super. We really appreciate you helping everyone that's jumped on this webinar today with some of these issues that they may be facing within their own communities, you know, during COVID and going into flu season and whatever the future may hold in the world of bacteria and germs and viruses, to better protect their residents and their communities and their facilities as well. I do want to take some questions, and Tracy will be happy to answer some questions as well. You're welcome. I asked for the new pin to talk about, so I think we have a couple. So I have Pam Garrity asking if these 3M makes these. I'm not sure makes which product.
3M does more of the acrylics.
They do the acrylics, okay.
But that's not for, like Ghent is who we use a lot for this, the screens, the mobile screens. There's a lot of companies out there. Steelcase has them, Han has them, OFS in Carolina. Some of my favorite fabric line, I mean, my manufacturer lines that I love to use. There's so much. The noise abatement, you can get through Han right now. It's a line that they picked up. There's, again, multiple sources for a lot of these products. Okay.
So I hope that answered your question, Pam. Definitely answering any more questions. Would anybody like to add any more additional questions to our chat box or our question and answer box? Because I had a couple in there as well. I've already answered them. They were more, are we going to get a recording of this? And yes, for the record, we are going to, this has been recorded. I'm going to send a YouTube link of this presentation. So you're welcome to share it with anyone else at your community or in your corporate office if you think this would be something that would be beneficial to them as well. Also, I'm asking for you to fill out a Survey Monkey if you have a few minutes. After, it's just going to be, it will take you less than a minute. I promise. There's really only a few questions. I don't get all down and dirty in it, but we do like to get some feedback on some of our webinars. I do have another question from Shirley Bristow. What about using UV light cleaning?
You know, that is one. I didn't touch base on that, but yes, UV is very popular. It's with all the COVID coming up. I've not used it personally. I know some of our people have. It's not something that I touched on in this just because I was trying to go more through the textiles, because when I was talking with our textile people about how to go about the cleaning, they were saying that there were steps that were being missed, and that's what, you know, they asked if we could, you know, talk about those steps of the rinsing and not degrading the fabric by leaving the disinfectants on there. So if you're wanting information about the UV, there's great information out there. If you want to just shoot me a quick email, I can send you links to those. Again, I don't want to talk about that because it's not my specialty, but I have the information and I can get it to you.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Shirley. Let's see, any other additional questions? Well, we have everyone still here.
And again, I know a lot of people out there, you know, have people they work with, but again, if there's a product that they saw that they're interested in, or just have a question, you know, about different manufacturers that they can bring to the people that they work with, again, shoot me an email. That's what we're here for. It's all about helping one another. It's not, you know, about me trying to sell you furniture. That's not what this is, you know.
Well, it's funny because we've talked about this is, you know, we're all in this together with COVID. We really found that we were working with partners and we were working with communities and we were working with even competitors all towards the same goal, because it really rocked all of our worlds. And we really found that we could start working with people that were competitors and even not competitors, and partnering with them, and really kind of how we could work together for the better good of our community, of our residents, of our seniors, and even us as a business. So I think it's, you know, sometimes that something good has to come out of something bad, right? I did have another question. Meg had a question on recommended products to sanitize wood furniture. Did you have something on that?
Well, again, you have to know what it's finished with. I can, again, get a list. Some of the manufacturers, and like I know Carolina and OFS, they actually have additives put into their stains and their finishes that help fight against bacteria
Oh, wow.
and germs, silver ion finishes and things like that. So I probably need a little bit more information as to what it is that she's cleaning and what kind of finish is on it. To be able to answer that properly. But again, if she wants to shoot me an email, send me a picture, maybe what it is, or the label. It's easy for me to look stuff up, and we can get her the proper information on that. Okay.
Meg, I hope that answered your question. Please feel free to reach out to Tracy. Her email's on this sheet, this last page. I'm also going to be emailing her information out on the email with the link to this webinar as well, and a link to the SurveyMonkey. So,
and I answer emails really quickly. I do. I have to say I'm pretty diligent about that.
Unlike some of the rest of us. All right, well, let me make sure that I don't have any, because I've got them coming in a couple different spots. All right, I think that is it. I think that's it for our webinar today. I really appreciate everyone joining us, and we'll be having another webinar in a couple of weeks. So please be on the lookout to see that in your email box, the invitation to that. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you again. Thanks, Darlene.
Thanks, Tracy, for joining.